There are kids in this world who are different. Special.
There are these kids out there somewhere. Whittier calls them four. Why is it always 6 minutes?
In this episode, I'll be breaking down the latest episode of 6 Minutes Season 4, piece by piece. Today, we're breaking down episode 43 of 6 Minutes Season 4. It was really emotional, right? It picks up from the last episode, and I really enjoyed that. In other GZM news, we just found out the next series that will release on the Imagination Amplified feed. You may remember that the trailer for Imagination Amplified included a section where Jess said that new and old shows will be released all throughout the year. As it turns out, Iowa Chapman and the Last Dog, which was originally released 5 years ago, will be released on the feed. But without further ado, let's get straight into this episode.
She came home with the most beautiful baby I'd ever seen. Said it was up to us to protect her. And that's all I needed to know.
Joe is such a fantastic father, and I'm sure what he's saying reflects the views of so many foster parents. From the moment he saw Brynleigh, he felt an obligation to protect her. When we met Joe for the first time, he was depicted as being kind of a tough country guy, and that's not what we're seeing here. We're seeing kind of the opposite. On Rewind, Dave talked about how great Rob Bogue is, and I definitely agree, right? He has so much range, and he plays Joe in such a way that you know how much he cares about his daughter. I also love Brynleigh in this scene. She has to hold back her emotions, which must be so hard.
She only told me she was employed by a multinational biotech company.
Whittier Corp?
Oh, heck no. One thing I can say for sure is Cadence would never work for them.
We've only ever heard of one biotech company, so what is this other company? Thinking back to Season 2, Brynleigh spoke of Monica as a mother figure, and maybe that's because she shared similar qualities to Cadence. And, from the way Cadence spoke about J.P. Whittier, I'd think that she didn't, agree with what he stood for. Maybe like Monica, she witnessed the Whitkid testing and she just didn't stand for that type of thing. I'm also getting the impression that at one point Cadence worked for Whittier Corp, and, maybe she just had some bad experiences working there. What if Whittier Corp had something to do with Cadence's disappearance? Knowing J.P. Whittier, it would make sense.
Joe, listen.
Whoa.
Joe?
What's happening? Are you okay? What is this?
I think Brynleigh was so overwhelmed that it caused her to switch places with Lil Bryn. She just found out the most devastating news of her life, and maybe she expected to learn more from Joe. Joe didn't have too much to say, right? He never asked Cadence questions, and that might come back to bite him. How will Brynleigh learn the truth about who she is? And in the last episode, we were talking about how Jude might be involved. A friend of mine had a prediction, and this is going back to the last clip, but what if Cadence was protecting Brynleigh from Jude? Maybe, and this is a big maybe, what if Brynleigh was a Whitkid? I also wonder what Joe saw when Brynleigh switched places with Lil Bryn. Dave was saying on Rewind that maybe he just saw his daughter pop up out of nowhere.
Besides, it works.
You're scared of needles, Cyrus?
No! Was scared of needles. Holy moly, that's big. But it's fine. I'm fine.
I think Angel enjoys picking on Cyrus, and there are so many great qualities about her. It's easy to forget that Cyrus doesn't remember what happened in Florida in 1987. They bonded so much during that time, but even still, Cyrus trusts Angel as though they're lifelong friends. I guess I'm hoping that things are great for Angel, even after everyone's in the correct timeline. Also, I love how Cyrus's fears are coming full circle. We heard a lot in previous seasons about how Cyrus is scared of heights, but I do respect him for admitting that. Cyrus must be so nervous right now, and not all tests have gone as expected, but we'll get to that more in a later clip.
From what I know, sometimes you get a little lightheaded. Things go fuzzy when the serum activates. Birdie didn't even know she'd been injected until the water triggered a response. Someone's at the door.
I've talked to other 6 Minute superfans, and they've said that the test will probably not go as expected. As we know, Penn and Casey are already working to open up a portal, so I think Cyrus needs another skill. I think at first this other skill will seem useless to Cyrus, but later on in the season, Brynleigh will be in danger, and Cyrus will use it to save Brynleigh's life. Just as we talked about in the last episode, Cyrus and Monica have to be communicating with everyone else in the future. The time phone will be such a great resource that will end up being very important.
Dr. Whittier, hello! We were just discussing...
Progress!
Yes. I was asking Dr. Purcell if she thought we were making any.
It's funny, we talk so often about how bad of liars the Anders are. I'm not gonna skip ahead to the cliffhanger yet, but I always enjoy scenes like this, really big, kind of serious scenes in that sense, where somebody is suspicious. Think back to Season 1. Cyrus was being interviewed by Jezebel Harrington, but after Birdie's soccer practice, she learned that there was a spy in the school. When she got home, she blurted out the news, and Jezebel Harrington heard it. Just like the Anders always do, she made a cover-up and said that there was a spy in the school.
I'm not your mom.
Hang on. Cadence loved Brynleigh. She raised her until she couldn't, and Joe loves you so much, Brynleigh. They are your parents.
Of course,
This is honestly so heartrending, and it's hard to think that Holiday was feeling the same way back in Season 1. And it's hard to process. There's no right way to feel. Like Jess, I love how we're revisiting the theme that started the whole show. Family isn't sharing the same blood. Family is the love everyone shares, and I guess I'm happy that Brynleigh knows her father was only trying to protect her, but it still hits so hard. Over the last week, I've heard from so many fans saying they're rethinking Brynleigh's whole character, from the start of Season 1, and I definitely agree.
When I first found out you were my mom, I would have done anything to change it.
absolutely anything.
But now, it just feels sad.
Wow, that was honestly so sad, and I get where Kady's coming from. They were starting to appreciate each other and their connection in such a great way. And really, this changes everything. Brynleigh won't be wiped from history if Kady and Joe don't fall in love. And I'm sure Kady has so many questions, maybe more than Brynleigh. What work trip was she on, right? There's so many questions to be asked, and it's really just a big deal for her, and how is she going to answer these questions? Also, the timing of them saying sad was just perfect. They relate on such a level that we haven't seen before, and a lot of that has to do with the experiences they've shared, and really it is sad.
Why was Dr. Purcell infusing you with angel's blood?
It's not what you think.
I would be careful of what lies you're about to tell, Mr. Anders.
Lies?
Because I have all the time and tools to get to the truth.
Stay calm.
Gee, this isn't great because Cyrus is in a high-stress situation. But on another note, it sounds to me like Dr. Whittier has some kind of weapon in his hand. And I'm not quite sure what he meant by tools. It seems like a threat, almost. Thank you all so much for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a 5-star review. Until next time, this is Landon saying peace, love, and time travel.